second thing that shows how powerful the DNA evidence was is that after Julian was convicted, he appealed to the Court of Appeal. And at the Court of Appeal, his lawyer came at the conviction from many different angles. But one of the things the lawyer attacked was the DNA evidence. He pointed to problems in Ms. Zuliga's approach and interpretation. And what do you think happened? The Court of Appeal basically said to the lawyer that this attack on the DNA evidence is your weakest ground of appeal. To the court, the DNA evidence was rock solid, unimpeachable. They said, we consider this ground of appeal to be unsustainable. Indeed, we did not require the Crown to respond to it. They basically said to the Crown, to the prosecutor, sit down. You don't have to answer this, just sit down. That's how clear, that's how strong, how solid the science was. The story was, this man had covered his face, but he hadn't covered his tracks. It was the perfect example of what we in the Caribbean have said we want to see from law enforcement and investigative agencies. Rely on science. Don't just pick up people off the road and come up with some story. Rely on science, and it seemed like this was a success story. Really. Julian Washington was convicted for the murder of Stephan Burgess, was convicted for the attempted murder of Devana Brimmer. He was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for 30 years. And he began to serve his sentence. He lost his appeal, justice had triumphed, and it went on like that for years and years and years, at least so far as the public was aware. Like so many people in the Caribbean and across the world who didn't get the protection of law that they were promised by their governments and which they had expected. Julian Washington's case changed for the better only after a group by the name of the Death Penalty Project stepped in. The Death Penalty, I have no affiliation with the Death Penalty Project. I have admiration for the Death Penalty Project, but no affiliation with them. The Death Penalty Project is a charity in the UK. They are focused on abolishing the death penalty across the world. And you may not know, but they have been involved in the Caribbean for decades. And we have to talk about the death penalty, but it's something for another time. What I want to highlight right now is that they don't just work on death penalty cases. In episode 2 and 3 of Stuck, I told the story of Lessine Edwards. It was a death penalty project that helped Lessine Edwards secure leading experts to prove that it was impossible for him to have murdered the mother of his children. When you hear my interview with Krista Mason-Smith in the Bahamas, you will hear her say that it was owing to the Death Penalty Project that Vincent Aristi was able to bring his case to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. Without their help, he would likely still be in prison and still have the stain of a wrongful conviction on his life. There's a lot of things that we need to talk about in terms of access to justice in the Caribbean. But I must say, on record, even though it's just in passing, that doing this series has really caused me to develop a tremendous appreciation and respect for the Death Penalty Project.